Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the FlappCast.
FlappCast.
Behind the Funny, our weekly podcast where we talk about what goes on behind the scenes at a comedy club.
Behind the scenes at a comedy club.
I'm Barbara Holiday, along with my partner in crime, Mr. Dave Reinitz is here.
FlappCast.
Eavesdropping on our podcast, and my sidekick,
Joshua Snyder.
And today we have the amazing headliner, Helen joining us. She's going to be here on Thursday at 7:30?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Headlining our main room.
That's right.
Wow.
Burbank, in the lovely Burbank.
Yes, downtown Burbank. So Helen Hong, my goodness, credits so huge to name, but most recently
she's in Star Wars.
She was not in Star Wars. Were you in Star Wars?
Oh my God, that's up my bucket list.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a big sci-fi geek, so it's my bucket list to be on like a Star Trek Next Generation or like an iteration of Star Wars.
Which alien?
Any of
with
those.
star in it.
And get to wear like one of those uniforms and like the ears and anything like that, and I would die. I would just die of orgasms.
Casting directors, if you're listening and you enjoy Helen,
Okay,
please.
so if you had to choose between Star Trek or Star Wars, if you had to choose one, what would it be?
I grew up on Star Trek Next Generation, TNG.
TNG. She knows the
so
slang.
if I could play, like, if I could be in one of those movies in a Federation uniform and be able to tap the little come in, number one, like any of those things, oh, I would love it.
I think you made a good trill. I think you did.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow, so you haven't done any sci-fi yet, though?
I have not.
Because
No.
you're in the comedy realm, and most recently you were in a fantastic movie called, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, I'm sure, Inside Llewyn Davis.
You got it right.
I did?
Yeah.
I was saying Llewellyn.
Yeah, a lot of people say Llewellyn, but it's actually Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yes, and you were in an amazing scene with...
Thank you.
Was John Goodman in that one?
No.
John Goodman was not in that one, but I
Did you
was
meet
in
John Goodman?
No. You know what? I sort of vaguely met him at the red carpet premiere of the movie. And we were both doing press, like there was like a whole press lineup, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. And at a certain point, we were doing interviews back to back, and I had to sashay, like I had to basically brush up against John Goodman's butt to get to
sexy.
the next interview. And I literally told everyone else the rest of that night, I'm like, I just brushed up against John Goodman's butt, and I'm going to put that on my resume.
And you disappeared because you are so tiny.
I was like, brushing his butt on my resume.
I think that's where the missing plane is, isn't it? John Goodman's ass.
Wait, so this movie, if you haven't seen it, it's very cool. It's about the folk music scene.
Yeah, it's a 60s period piece, which was so fun for me because I got to wear like an authentic 60s outfit. And they don't play. Like they literally... I went to the wardrobe fitting, and there was a room the size of this room, actually bigger than this room, bigger than the showroom at Flappers in Burbank, filled with outfits, uniforms for nurses, uniforms for cops, firefighter. I mean, crazy, authentic, period, vintage stuff. And they had me initially they had me try on these really cute 60s dresses, and I was like, oh my God, I'm adorable. And then they were like, the Coen brothers came in, and they were like, no, she's supposed to be a nerd. And they were like, how about this twin set? And I was like, lame. But it was so awesome, so cool.
What was it like working with the Coen brothers?
Awesome. They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're actually not very hands-on directorially, like for your performance. They just kind of let me do... Actually, everyone in the room, and they just trusted like that we were going to do the performance.
Cast it right.
Well,
Fuck off. That's what we do here at Flappers.
I have a question though, because you played a stereotypical Asian character, right? But
I didn't have an accent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious. Did you make that choice? Or
No,
did they make
I
that?
asked them specifically, and it said
I asked that question. You guys want me to
chink it up?
Dave,
I know that's what Dave wanted to say.
I did.
Could you chink it up, please?
Oh no, they didn't. I mean,
this is such a funny thing about the business because, obviously there are roles where obviously they want you to be fresh off the boat, but nobody wants to come right out and say it.
Right.
So I automatically can just tell when I get cast. If I get an audition for something and I go in with a casting director and I just sort of can tell, I get the vibe, I'm like, so I'll be like, would you like this with an accent or without? And they always say this, the most diplomatic thing, which is, let's try both. Let's try both.
Well, I guess part of the answer's got to be in the name of the character. Is it nerdy Asian or nerdy woman?
Yeah, like the character I play on Nickelodeon is Mrs. Wong, and she's got a thick accent. But
can we hear a little?
So we only stereotype for children, basically.
Well, it's easier.
Yeah.
We need to get those stereotypes embedded in those kids.
Exactly. We need to teach our 7-year-olds how to be racist immediately.
Hey, it's it's progress. Like if this was back at Breakfast at Tiffany's when you have what's his name?
Oh yeah.
Mickey Rooney as the Asian guy.
Dong or whatever.
Yeah.
What is your character, Mrs. Wong? I'm not familiar with.
I'm on a great Nickelodeon series called The Thundermans.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a live-action multi-camera sitcom, and it's for the 8 to 13-year-old set. That's the demographic. And I play a recurring character. It's really cool. I'm Mrs. Wong, the pizza parlor owner, and my pizza parlor is called Wong's Pizza Palace.
Because you know how to make pizza.
Exactly.
So
well. Which I love. I appreciate that it's not a Chinese food restaurant, but when you walk into the set of my restaurant, it's hilarious because it looks like it's an Italian restaurant threw up on a Chinese food restaurant. So there's like the little Asian cat, with the hand that bobs back and forth, and then there's Chinese lanterns, and then there's like the Italian flag. So it's awesome. It's like
you have Kung Pao pepperoni.
Yeah,
or what?
exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, so it's like a weird mix of all these like Asian and Italian restaurant artifacts, which I love.
Can we hear Mrs. Wong? Can we talk to Mrs. Wong?
Why do you want to hear it? I don't understand why you need to hear this accent. This accent is so. Everybody loves this accent. Everybody love it. I don't know why.
It's a little bit Filipino.
It's like, I think Mrs. Wong is supposed to be Chinese because Wong is a Chinese name, but I do Korean because that's the one I do easiest. Like, I do my mother, basically. Actually, I basically make fun of my mommy, and she sounds like an old Korean lady, and she's very angry because my mom is always angry, so I'm very angry.
Now, wait, what's the difference between a Korean accent and a Chinese? This is how ignorant I am.
Well, that's because you're a white racist.
Different.
It's because you're a white racist, Josh. You cannot hear the differences.
Yeah, well, you probably can't hear the difference between a Kentucky accent and a Tennessee accent. So.
I can't. And I'm not ashamed of that fact.
Nor am I.
I can tell a Texas accent. Texas does really sound different to me than like a across-the-board Southern accent.
It's just a little more ignorant when it comes from Texas.
It's a little more blustery.
A little slower, a little blustery, a little more likely that they'll shoot you in the face.
So what is your background? Your mom is Korean?
Yeah, my parents are Korean.
Both of them?
Yep,
okay, yeah. So you talk about that in your act a little bit.
Totally.
How do they like your act?
They've never seen me live. Never.
What?
Never.
We gotta give me the phone number.
No, Barbara.
What? Are they local?
No, they're not. They live in Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, they've never seen me live. They have never been invited because I think I might throw up on stage if my parents were in the room. Because they're just, it's nerve-wracking.
Listen, the first time I did a show with my mom in the audience, the MC announced it before I got up.
Yikes.
Much to my chagrin. And it was one of the worst shows I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it took 4 years for her to come back to it.
Yeah, I think it would just be poison.
Well, but they know what you do.
Of course,
right?
they know what I do.
They know you talk about them in your act?
Well, here's the thing, the funny thing. So, the first TV set I ever did was a show called Stand Up in Stilettos on the TV Guide channel, and it was all female comics, and it was great. So I go on, and it's like the first time I actually tell my parents, like, oh, I'm going to be on TV telling jokes, like doing stand-up on TV. And they're like, oh, it's so exciting. Oh, so exciting. And they DVR it and they tell everybody. And then I forgot that the first half of my set for that show was completely making fun of my parents.
You forgot?
kind of like didn't. I don't know. I guess I it was
Blocked it out.
Well, here's the thing that ended up being shitty. Sorry if I can't curse.
No problem.
No fucking problem.
So I did like a 10-minute set, and half of it was about my parents, and half of it was about dating and other stuff that I talk about. They only aired the bits about my parents. So now my parents watch like a 5 to 6 minute set of just me making fun of them. So now they think that's all I talk about ever. Is just making fun of them. And so I called my mom and I was like, oh, so Mom, what'd you think? She's like, I don't know why you have to talk about this. I don't know why you always saying nasty thing about me. And so I actually did feel bad. Because obviously, you know, the comedy is the exaggeration. You know, it's definitely based in truth, but you know, comedy is like you exaggerate a little bit for the comedic effect, and so they're not nearly as bad as they seem in my act.
Now, you don't have an accent at all, but
No.
you just picked this up from your parents?
Yeah, because because I grew up with them, and you know, it's always.
So, if they can't take a joke, how did you end up being such a wonderful comedian?
My dad actually, both my parents are really funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do they know they're funny? Or they just...
My dad loves any outgoing like exhibitionist like wanting to be in the limelight thing. I totally get from my dad. Can I tell you the funniest thing? You guys are gonna die.
Please.
So my parents are retired dry cleaners.
I didn't know you
That's not even the joke.
I thought that was a life sentence.
Fuck all of you for laughing. Fuck all of you for laughing. That's not even the joke. But yeah, they totally fit the stereotype. They're like former dry cleaners.
They had their own joint?
Yeah, they had their own dry cleaning business.
What was it called?
It was called All Star Cleaners and Tailors in where were they? Lexington, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad used to MC all of the Korean Dry Cleaning Association events. So there's like this huge Korean Dry Cleaning Association group in Greater Massachusetts, and my dad was the MC every time because my dad loves being the center of attention. He loves being in the limelight. He loves people looking at him. He loves being jokey and stuff. So any of that I get from my dad. My mom actually is very dry, very sarcastic, very like doesn't like the limelight, doesn't like being loud and look at me, but she's very, very funny in her own right. So.
Right. Does she give your dad his jokes? And then complains that he doesn't give her credit for them. Is that what happens?
He should, because you know, as with a lot of people who are very like, "Hey, look at me," like you know, maybe he should like spend more time writing.
And you don't have
Dad, spend more time writing the bits, okay?
Yeah.
So you don't have any brothers or sisters?
I do have a sister.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
my sister is. We're very, very close. We are complete personality opposites. You couldn't pay her money to get on stage. To do anything.
What does she do?
And she's also very funny. She is a photographer and has worked in. She used to work in the fashion industry.
By fashion industry, do you mean she inherited the dry cleaning empire?
Listen, Dave, we're gonna fight after this podcast, and I'm gonna use Chinese stars in our fight.
But you're Korean. That's
Well,
totally not
there's
appropriate.
so much about Helen, so interesting. She's single and available, right,
Oh
guys?
God, desperately.
Oh, that's
Seriously.
cool. You have some dating tips for the ladies out there?
I do. I would say try to keep an open mind because I just saw this great BuzzFeed sketch on, and it's titled something like "Why You're Single on Valentine's Day," and it's true. It's like this man and this woman, and they match, they lock eyes, and they're like, you think there's going to be this mystical, magical connection, and she in her mind goes, under 5'10", and he's like, not a C cup, you know. And this is the world we live in. Like our standards are too high. And the last guy that I dated that I really, really was crazy about, I met him online on OkCupid, and I was like on the fence about. He wrote to me, and I was like, I don't really like the way he looks. I don't really like his profile. I'm not really going to be into this guy. And that was the guy that I ended up being crazy head over heels for. So you just never know.
What was that
You just
shift though?
can't-
What happened?
Yeah, what?
I got to know him.
He was a guy.
Yeah, I got to know him all these things, like his profile was very kind of like took himself way too seriously, and he does take himself way too seriously. But for some reason, I ended up really liking that. Like, he is an intense person. And I usually don't go for guys that are really intense. I like laid back, kind of chill, you know, go with the flow kind of guys. And so I was really turned off by reading his profile. I was like, this guy thinks he's like the sun rises and sets on him. And he kind of does, he kind of is like that. But for whatever reason, I just really was into him.
The sun rises and sets on all of us.
Now, was he
because of him? He
was he a performer? Or?
No, not at all.
Oh. And did he like that you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't.
Lawyer?
He didn't mind. No, he's like a business guy, businessman. You know, one of those vague like if someone tells you they're a consultant, like what does that mean? I've never known what that meant.
I can tell you
right?
exactly what that means. Having spent much time as a consultant, it means unemployed.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many weird businessy titles where you could be doing something like making a ton of money, or you could be like living in your mother's basement making $4 and it's the same title. Like consultant or entrepreneur.
Wait a minute now, we're entrepreneurs.
Or like,
you're right, we make
As
no
a
money.
consultant to entrepreneurs, I am offended.
like, I don't know, like there's
I can tell you what entrepreneur means, unemployed.
It means wishing you were unemployed.
But you guys are, I would say you guys are business owners, right?
Ooh,
is that what
owners.
Is that what entrepreneur
that
means?
word again. Dave hates that word,
Oh,
owner.
really?
Well, you know, it's not owner. It's very,
Do you know why I hate the word owner?
Why?
It's a silly story. It's because
your people used to be slave owners?
No, it's,
No.
Oh,
it's
no, we used to be. Wait a minute, Jews, slaves.
Yeah, you guys were
we
slaves.
spend more time as
Sorry about
slaves than
that.
owners.
Yeah.
No, I just don't like it for two reasons. One, because my old business partner, who's a wonderful man who passed away a while back, he always said, if you're part of a corporation, if you call yourself an owner, you violate your corporate shield, and people can sue you for the shit you own.
Don't listen to this.
That's what he said. And I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't own any shit, but I just, out of respect for him, I just don't
Got
like
it.
I don't like
Entrepreneur does have a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
It's got a nice ring to it.
It
Except when
means,
Donald
But it's
Trump
so
calls
vague.
themselves.
I
Yes.
mean, right? If someone tells you they're an entrepreneur, they could be literally living in their mother's house collecting unemployment,
Right.
or they
hoping
could
to
be
go on Shark Tank.
right.
don't get me started on Shark Tank now. Come on. They said something great on Shark Tank the other night,
She
though.
got started.
They said there's a big difference between an inventor and an entrepreneur. Like, there's people who have
That's so true.
a lot of ideas, but then they
Don't have any follow through.
Right.
Right.
And I think a real
Why are you looking at
entrepreneur
me?
has to
Yeah.
execute.
So, you know,
have you
all that weird women's lingerie that you're concocting in your basement,
It's not weird, and
Dave.
it's not exclusively for women.
Helen, have you dated any owners or entrepreneurs?
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I guess so.
No sights on the marriage here, I can see, right?
No,
Busy
I just-
with career.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
question. This guy you were crazy about. Was he a Star Trek fan as well?
No.
Oh,
I know,
forget it.
right?
Forget it.
Fish.
Deal breaker.
Josh is a virgin. Did you know that?
I did know that. Don't you talk about this in your act?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he talks about it in his
I laughed how
act.
she said, "Yeah, I did that."
The
Yeah.
big V.
I'm aware.
He's wearing a scarlet
Oh, he talks about it in
V.
his act. Just looking at him was kind of a giveaway. It was the pants that really did it.
So, you know what else Helen does that's really interesting? You are involved with this organization called Girls Fight Back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Tell
I'm
us
really
a little
proud
bit
of
about
it.
that.
It's a wonderful. It's a program that travels to mostly colleges and high schools and teaches mostly women, but we also do students as well, so male and female students together, about self-defense. And just it's a very basic, like, dip your toe in the water if you know nothing about self-defense, which most of us don't, right? And the reason why I got involved with it is I was mugged like 6 or 7 years ago on the street where I lived in New York City. It was totally traumatic.
What part of New York?
East Village. Yeah. Which I thought, that was one of the things that threw me off because I thought it was one of the safest neighborhoods in New York because it's a very nighttime neighborhood. There's always bars open and restaurants. There's always people on the streets.
New York's
it's
a very
hip.
safe city.
Absolutely, very safe.
No, New York is
No,
a
it
very safe
is.
city.
It actually is
It's
one
the
of the
safest
safest
major
cities.
city in America.
Yeah.
They do a great job.
Yeah, so
Unless you're a
I
black
was
teenager.
I was literally coming home from a show at like 2:00 in the morning, la-di dying off the subway, like not even paying attention. and this purse snatcher grabbed my purse and took off running. And I chased him.
Good for you.
Because when it comes to fight or flight, apparently I'm a fighter. I chased him down an entire long New York Avenue block, yelling all kinds of obscenities at the top of my lungs. I was saying stuff about his mother, about his genitalia, like you name it. I was name calling him. And thankfully he didn't turn around and be like, "What'd you say, bitch?" and punch me out, because he was like a 300-pound man. But
you couldn't catch a 300-pound man.
I was in heels. If I had been in sneakers, I think I would have caught the guy, because he was fat.
What was there, $5 in your purse or what?
There was $4. Yes. How did you know? There was $4 in my wallet. Yeah. So take that, mugger bitch.
But did you get it? Did you actually get your purse back?
No, I didn't. I never got it back.
Oh.
I never got it back. And
interesting. You went with the self-defense way to get back, as opposed to a run faster program.
Yeah, what would you have done?
Thanks,
What would you have done differently now that
well, now
I
I know, because of the stuff that I learned from Girls Fight Back, I wouldn't have been la-di-dying in the first place at 2 o'clock in the morning. Because the best defense is to never get into a situation in the first place, right? It's just being aware of your surroundings and trusting your instincts. Because I even did, like a block before it happened, I thought, those footsteps are really close to me. Like, I even had that thought, and I turned and I looked at the guy, and he crossed to the other side of the street. So I just thought, oh, I'm just being paranoid. But I wasn't. I had an instinct about it, which I chose to ignore, which most people, especially women, do. And so one of the biggest things that we teach in Girls Fight Back is trust your instinct, man. It's there for a reason. We are the only creatures on Earth that do not trust our instincts.
Oh.
We are the only ones. Yeah, because if there was a deer in the forest who felt a funny feeling, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm just being paranoid. Oh my goodness, I'm just goodness me, this poor guy."
Nobody mugs a deer.
Yeah, they don't have very much.
They don't even have the $4.
Yeah, they have like 50 cents.
Well, that's only one bug
in their hooves.
Yeah. Oh, hey yo, punny. He's being punny,
Joshua.
So yeah, it's
what's
a lot.
What's one self-defense tip that you give? Beyond the mind your surroundings.
Mind your surroundings, definitely. Trust your instinct, definitely.
I'm thinking, like, what's the most karate
you wouldn't
thing?
think of those things as being I'm actually quite interested in what you're saying.
Yeah.
When I hear self-defense, I think, fighting. It kind of scares me a
it's
little.
the fighting is for if everything else has failed, because you have a lot of really great resources and things that you can do before to make even the fight not happen, right? And that's like even making eye contact. Like, this guy would not have mugged me if I had stopped and looked at him in the eye and been like, "I see you. What do you want?" Or anything, because then now I can identify him. Right. You know what I mean? And he knows that he's on notice, like I'm paying attention to him. And that, I guarantee, knowing what I know, he would not have even, because what people who attack are looking for are good victims. Right? So if you look someone in the eye and give them an energy, like, victim. "Hey man, I see you," you're now a bad victim. You're not a good victim. So so basically there's so many things that you can do to just avoid being attacked in the first place. But once you are attacked, the thing that we teach is self-defense basically is, where am I strong? Where is he weak?
Nuts
plus
and eyes.
Force.
Nuts
Yep,
and eyes.
nuts and eyes. Yep, it's true.
Really, Dave?
Nuts, eyes, and neck. Yeah.
Nuts, eyes, and neck.
Yeah.
N-E-N.
Nuts, eyes, necks, and sides
Yeah.
of the knees.
Where is he weak? Which is nuts, eyes, and knees. Very good, Dave. And where am I strong? Knees, elbow, the palm of the hand right here where the bone meets the hand.
Maintaining a positive attitude in tough times.
Brain smart, brain strong.
Yeah.
Right?
What if you're attacked by a she?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, a kick to the crotch is going to hurt for a woman.
Anybody.
Believe me, I've done now a lot of self-defense, like intense full body training with this program,
right.
And I have been kneed in the crotch.
Because you actually do.
I have been kneed in the crotch, and it's not fun. Yeah. I mean, it's probably less fun for a dude, but even for a woman, being kneed in the crotch is not fun.
It's definitely less fun for a dude.
Yeah. I mean, I have to take your word for it.
I remember getting just kneed in the nuts in 7th grade by a kid in a lunch line. That was irritating. I will never, ever forget that moment.
Yeah. Because something very physiological happens, right? Like you feel like you're going to throw up and you can't even see straight.
And it's just you can't breathe and you can't stand up. And you
God,
can't,
there's so many stories. A lot of it happens when we're young too. So I'm glad that you're talking to college students and high school girls.
Yeah, because it's insane that everyone thinks it couldn't possibly happen to me. I mean, that was what happened to me. I'm living in New York City, which is one of the safest cities, but still there is a crime that occurs in New York City. Yeah. I'm walking home at 2 o'clock in the morning in the dead of winter. Nobody is around, in heels, and I'm literally daydreaming. Like, I am not even paying attention to anything. I'm not paying attention to a guy who I know is behind me, following me, because that's how oblivious I was, and that's how oblivious most people are.
Right.
And that's that's why bad stuff happens to people, because we just assume it's not going to happen to us.
It's kind of the climate change story.
Right.
Oh, God, Dave. All right. Wait, so now we haven't talked at all about how you got into comedy, because you're an actress, you do so many things.
Yay.
But when did you appear? When was your first time on stage? How did you get involved in stand-up?
I took a class.
Oh, whose class?
Which is great because I know you guys offer great classes here at Flappers. Mm-hmm. I was living in New York, and I took a class at Caroline's, which is one of the biggest, oldest comedy clubs in New York. And I was like having a quarter-life crisis, I guess you could say. I was really sad. I had just been fired from the only job I've ever been fired from.
Your parents' cleaners?
Yeah. my dad was like, "You out! Get out!" Yeah, so I was fired. I was really depressed. I had no direction in my life. I was kind of spent a lot of my time being like, is this all there is? Really didn't have a goal or a purpose. And so I was like, you know what? I met someone who had taken a class at Caroline's, and I was like, that sounds fun. I'm just going to try that. And so I did it on a whim, and it was, the graduation show. I don't know if this is how you guys do it here. If you invite all your friends and family, right? Wow. Well, ours ended up having 250 people.
Oh, yes.
On a Sunday afternoon at Caroline's in Times Square. And I was like, I'm going to vomit. Like, this is... I think I literally wore like holes into the carpet where I was pacing back and forth. I was so nervous. I was like, I'm going to throw up. Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm not going to remember any of my jokes. Hyperventilating. And I get up there, and I do great. The first laugh I got, it was like crack and heroin and meth, so I'm told. I was like, oh my God, this is such an amazing high. This is all I want to do for the rest of my life. And I never stopped. That was 9 years ago.
Woo!
9 years ago, I graduated from this class at Caroline's, and from the second I got that first laugh, I was like, this is my purpose. This is my life's work. This is my goal in life, to do this as many times as I can. And that was 9 years ago, and I've never stopped.
Do you remember the first joke you told on stage? Or was it about your parents?
It must have been... I think it's some variation of a joke that I still tell to this day, which is how my name is unfuckable. Oh. Some variation of that, yeah. I think so. Because I remember that it's one of my oldest jokes, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was in the first joke that I told.
Did you get a tape?
Yeah, I still have it. It's in my closet somewhere. It's on VHS.
Yes, I have the same tape.
I have a VHS tape of me from Caroline's in like 2005.
Every few years I watch one of those really old early on tapes. And at one point I'd gone through and I put letter grades on them all. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know why.
B+.
Right. And a couple of years ago I was going to go through and just kind of do, a retrospective from start to today. And so I put in the first tape that had an A on it, and I was like, oh, no.
You're like, if this is an A, kill yourself.
No. I couldn't watch any more of it. Like, I just abandoned the project immediately.
I can't. I mean, I have them all. I have them all because I want to have them, and I want to go back and look at them someday. But, ooh, yikes. I don't think I could. Although I will say I didn't bomb. I definitely didn't bomb. I did well that first time. But,
well, you have a great energy about you, a really likable, friendly energy, and I think that it's really hard to really fail because, you know, as long as you're present and authentic, which you are.
Yeah, and I was present, and I even remember going off script, like doing like a quick bit of, because somebody had said something, doing a little riff that first set, and I was like, I'm a comedy genius.
Right, you're so free. Yes, I remember that. You get so happy with yourself. I can't believe it.
I can't believe I did. Oh my God, I'm brilliant. Yeah, of course. Then, you know.
But then, come on now. Where's been your worst show ever since then? I'm sure you've had some.
We all have.
Crappies, yeah.
I used to do, in New York, there's a club called the New York Comedy Club, which is an old institution.
Is that downstairs thing? No, that's the south.
No, it's like on the east side. It's on 23rd, between 1st and 2nd, I want to say. And, no, 2nd and 3rd. And it's, all right. Anyway, they do urban nights, like late night urban nights on Friday, and there's this great comic who runs the urban night. I forget his name. Damn it, Sheldon, something like that. Anyway, he's this great older black man, and he's really good about giving young comics a shot. But his crowd is all black and Latino. Right? So it's like literally urban night, and the shows are Friday nights at midnight. They start at midnight. Friday night, midnight, can you imagine? So I'm like this cutesy little, and I was much more like cutesy. I'm doing a persona of a cute Asian girl when I first started. And so I would say 3 years in, I started doing his show, and the first time I did it, I was like, hi guys, like cutesy, and it was like this entire black and Latino crowd, and they fucking hated me. They just decided, they were like, who is this bullshit little girl? Like, and I was supposed to do 8 minutes, and they lit me at 3. And I've never been so happy to see a light in my entire life. I was like, oh, thank God. And I ran off the stage, and I was I've never bombed that hard. Like, there was a table, first of all, there was one table that had a group of 17, and they were like Puerto Rican. Like a group of 17 Puerto Ricans, and they hated me right off the bat. They started talking amongst themselves and making their own jokes during my set. During my set. And so they weren't even bothering to heckle me. They just started like talking amongst themselves and laughing during my, like at the wrong times, because they're laughing, telling their own jokes. And it was so brutal and so gnarly. But you know what I'm really proud of? I went right back the next week. I got off stage and I went up to Sheldon, this lovely older guy that ran the show, Sheldon, I think his name is, and he was like, girl, you gotta come harder. He was like, you gotta learn a lesson tonight, and you can't be, you gotta know your audience, you gotta come out strong, out the gate, and come harder, and just know, grit your teeth and do it. And I was like, thank you, can I come back next week? And I did.
Wow,
yeah.
Great. Oh my God.
And I went to his show for like weeks and weeks and weeks for a while.
Did you come harder?
I did. I think that's when I got.
Come harder.
I think that's when I started with "What's Up, Bitches," which is a lot. It was still an opener that he used now. But that time it might have been "What's Up, Motherfuckers." Like I came hard because I wasn't gonna make that mistake again, and they totally took me seriously. Because then they were like, "Oh shit, this little girl is like just came out with "What's Up, Motherfuckers." Oh my God! So it is a matter of knowing your audience, but also just having that confidence and knowing that whatever shtick you're doing may not work for every room.
Is that What Up Motherfucker opening what got you Nickelodeon?
Yes. This is long.
The 8-year-olds love What Up Motherfucker.
What Up Little Motherfucker?
They love it.
Well, this is actually a really great time to turn into our segment Punch It Up, if you don't mind, because we have a couple of comics here who are a little bit fresh to the scene, and which they would love to get your feedback.
Yeah.
They're going to do 3 minutes for us, and they're going to hear a funky sound effect like some applause or a pew pew. I'll just do this.
Or this.
All right, a bell.
Oh, I was going to say find the Star Trek thing.
Really?
And when they hear that sound, then they're going to come over and have a little talk with us on the couch, and we'll give them some tags.
This is so like therapy.
We'll punch it up.
All right, you guys.
Right, Helen, huh?
Punch it up.
All right, Dave is
off.
Bye, Dave.
Bye, Dave. All right,
Dave.
Josh Schneider, who do we have for our first comedian today?
First comedian coming to stage is Matt Wexler, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
Matt Wexler.
Give it up.
Coming to the stage, it's Matt Wexler.
So, I think we need more Jews in professional wrestling. I'm Jewish, even though I look like this. I think that if I was going to be a wrestler, I'd try to incorporate more Judaism into my character. My name would be something super traditional, like the He Brawler, or Judah Macca Beatdown, or Circumsexy. My entrance music would be anything off the Fiddler on the Roof soundtrack. My finishing move would be the dreidel drop. I'd even have like a sexy black-haired chick named Esther from Long Island escort me to the ring. And while I'm wrestling, she could just be on the outside complaining about how I'm not a doctor or a lawyer the whole time. Speaking of things that Jews aren't allowed to do, my friends and I have this tradition of going to the strip club on Valentine's Day because that's when we think the strippers are at their most emotionally vulnerable. But after thinking about it some and doing some real soul searching on the topic, turns out we were in the wrong. Strippers are really at their lowest on Father's Day.
Oh.
Helen, you pro-stripper? Actually, a lot of guys fantasize about having sex with two different women at once, but to me, I think a threesome looks like a lot of work. Basically, you're spending twice the amount of effort for pretty much the same result. And instead of just one woman harshly criticizing me to the verge of tears, there'd be another one just sitting there agreeing with her the whole time. By the way, can we please stop making pornography in high definition? I keep seeing C-section scars, bullet wounds, sorrow. And it's really starting to distract my focus from the subtle nuances of the film cinematography. I'm actually sick of watching porn and recognizing the house they're filming in from some party in the valley I went to 6 months ago. I don't have a tag for that. So, I live in West Hollywood now, which is tough because I've had to train my mind to immediately assume that any good-looking girl I meet is automatically a transvestite. Learned that one the hard way. Met what I thought was a girl once, turned out to be a he-she with the body of Heidi Klum and the voice and genitalia of Ving Rhames. Worst dentist appointment ever. The one thing I do like out here, though, is the lingo. I like the fact that people say, things like sick or stupid or retarded when things are good. I'm looking forward to the next step in this verbal evolution when people describe things that are awesome using pregnancy terms.
Finish it.
Hey man, did you see that new Hunger Games movie? Oh yeah, it had me lactating the whole time. It was really crowning. It was just so third trimester. And that action sequence at the end, oh, my water broke.
All right, Max. Excellent. All right, Ed's going to try and give you that timer on the end of a punchline. All right. Come on over and talk to us for a sec. Grab that mic. Thanks so much for joining us. I know it's always...
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I've been writing for about 9 years, but I've been performing for about 1.5 years. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
I didn't realize that you hadn't been performing that long. That's interesting.
No, none.
9 years writing? Did you write sitcom or other stuff
No,
too?
I was a writing major in college, and then I went to Second City in Chicago and went through their writing program, and I was an intern there, and then I did shows for them in their Skybox Theater. And then I came out here and I did a bunch of different things. I was a intern for National Lampoon and just different odd jobs, trying to break in. And I was like, well, I should just go and try stand-up just because I like writing. It's instant gratification if a joke's good. And hopefully it opens some different doors for me. I'm not a performer and I'm kind of a private person. So, yeah, that's kind of been the genesis of it.
Excellent.
Wow, I'm super impressed, actually, for how little you've been doing it. And you say you're not a performer, but actually that persona works really well for you.
Right.
That sort of like looking awkward on stage. I thought it was on purpose.
Yeah, me too. I think it's great. There's definitely an identity there.
Yeah, even at when you first hit the stage and you were giving us that weird look, and I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. And then you came out the gate with a really funny line. Yeah.
Jokes. Yeah, you're a great writer. There's lots of great stuff in there. He needs a tag for the porno. What was it? Party in the Valley. What was that joke?
Well, I just.
We can help you.
Yeah, sometimes when I've seen pornos in passing, I've recognized the house from like a party in the valley.
This makes me want to go to more parties in the valley. I've never recognized any place that I know from watching porn.
Has that actually happened where you?
Yeah, and it was like, you can't really share it, but I mean, it's not like when I talk to my mom, I'd be like, hey, you're never going to guess what happened.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, no,
that was hilarious.
I used to say, like, I wish I would have been invited to it, or why wasn't I invited, or like, I hope I didn't eat anything there, but yeah.
I was thinking, isn't the same, all the houses in Canoga Park also look like the Brady Bunch house? I mean, no? You guys, okay, no. All right, well.
This is a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast, okay?
I don't get invited to enough parties in the valley.
Right.
I need to go.
See?
Wait, I had a question about, you said the C-section scars, about your porno joke. Yeah. And then, what were the other two?
Bullet wounds and sorrow.
Oh, what's sorrow? I didn't get that.
Oh, it's an emotion when people feel bad. So like.
Oh, sorrow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was thinking SARO, and I thought it was like some sort of mark on your body. I'm like, what's
well,
a sorrow?
Is a far. You're onto a point though, because you went physical, and then I mean it was sort of it's a little bit too far away.
Right. I
think.
used to say despair, but I don't.
What's something? I mean, it seems like
dead in the eyes or something. I don't know. I feel like sorrow. It threw me off because it was. I think you're right. I think it was too far off, or keep it and just really accentuate it when you say it.
Or it could be another thing. Like the third thing could be something physical that indicates sorrow, like dried tears or something.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Stretch marks.
Self-flagellation.
Cellulite. No.
Or like suicide.
Oh yeah, cutting marks.
Ooh, what do you call those?
Cutting scars?
No. Too dark?
I'm a Jewish guy from Minneapolis. I have no idea.
Well, just
cutting's a thing here.
Yeah, cutting is very in.
Cutting's in.
You don't know about the cutting in the valley? It's very, very
don't
in.
listen to hip-hop.
Helen, do you have anything else for him?
No, I think you're a great writer. I thought it was really good. There was one that I thought was the
Father's Day was a groaner, right? But I liked it. I thought it was great. I would say my only comment for you overall, like I'm not sure you realize how strong your identity is. And this is sort of a character note, and I don't want people to mistake this, but like you are a character. And if you just are serious as you are, but confident in your seriousness. I guess I'm not sure how to verbalize this.
I loved everything about it, which I know you were probably not doing intentionally, but even like the hand in the pocket.
Yeah, the looking away,
slouched and the looking away and not being able to look in people's eyes. Like that all fit your persona, and so it really worked for me. Whereas I would never suggest to a comic to keep their hand in their pocket, but for your character it really works. So I would say you're absolutely right, Barbara. Like, don't discount the character you got.
Because I feel a little bit like maybe you're not understanding how valuable that is on stage. Like, just be yourself, and you could get away with saying a lot because of the way you look in that character. Like, you can kind of sneak it in.
It reminds me a lot. You remind me a lot of Woody Allen, actually, because he started off as a writer, had no interest in performing, and it was his managers who said, "No, you should perform what you're doing." And I feel you're not similar in how his style or his delivery, but I think there is just a lot of things that you naturally do physically and just emotionally
that really
and behaviorally
works.
are just inherently funny.
You like performing now, though? You do? You really? Or you're more of a writer?
It's just something that, it opens different doors, and it's just, it's something I really like. I do a lot of classes, and I like doing those, and I like coming around and being in the club, and I think that's a lot of fun. And
you seem really comfortable. I mean, I know this isn't a full.
That's
room,
why
like it's not an audience, but
that's exactly right. He doesn't have an agenda to.
Right.
Well,
That's
and, like,
he's just part of the community.
I assure you, like, I mean, I always wear something like this, well, basically because I have really cool T-shirts, but underneath I'm sweating bullets. So yeah.
So
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. Well, right.
But but that's good. That's great.
Yeah,
and you really are a strong writer, so it's true what you were saying. Like, it does give you sort of instant feedback about your writing, and it makes you, edit, right? Because especially for stand-up, you just got to get to the point.
Yeah, and one last note. My overall comment for you is I would say embrace your character. Like, just really let us know a little bit more about who you are. I'm getting some insights, but like. Just a little bit more personal stuff about you so that we can really see your point of view from this character, because it is such a persona that you're the kind of character that they write sitcoms about.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, I want to see a show about that guy.
Yeah, put this guy on Glee. I don't know. Just somewhere where there's a conflict, or, I want to see what his apartment looks like. I don't know, or maybe I don't.
Yeah, you don't, but
I
you
think
do.
Yes, right.
You really want to see me on Glee? I mean,
I'm just saying conflict. I'm looking like your putting.
No,
your
I know,
character.
but I think I'm the last person that you want to. I mean, just because I've looked.
Right.
Exactly, which
That's
is why
the
it would be so
point.
great on
That's
Glee.
what I'm saying. There's kind of a funny, thing about putting your character in sort of really upbeat situations, because you're just like, Well, Matt, I hope it was helpful for you.
Thank you,
a little
guys.
bit. We enjoyed
really
having
appreciate
you.
it. So,
Thanks for playing with us today. All right, give it up for Matt Wexler. Who else do we have?
We have coming up next is the comedian. His name is The.
Oh, seriously? The?
Yes.
All right, please welcome to the
The.
stage.
He just goes by the.
Not the.
Is it the or the?
It's the.
It's the. Just brother the. Is how I'm billed. Thank you for having me. I would like to say I am the kind of person that thinks that like the stuff on TV is real, or I call TMZ the news. I think I think I know celebrities. That's the kind of crazy I am. I think it's the gossipy old woman in me that I have to tune into TMZ first thing and see where DMX was arrested and for what. I have a bingo game called DMX Bingo, where you fill the 25 squares with offenses in cities and like wait for them to come in. So it's like, come on, DUI in Wichita. No, it was weapons charges in Des Moines. Because he gets around, he's like fucking Carmen Sandiego. He's everywhere. I also love like Lohan News. I need Lohan News on the regular. It's not as plentiful as it was, but I'll take second string Lohans. Like Michael, like the dad Michael, or Dina the mom, or Allie the little sister who for some reason looks older than all of them put together. I'll take it. Now this week, or last week, there was a story where Michael Lohan and his girlfriend, Kate Major, they're like famous for beating the shit out of each other constantly. And it used to be funny, and then they had a kid. And then it was just sad. Or less funny. And that's the kind of shit I love. Like, I'm not a fan of domestic violence, but it is the one thing that they do well. Lord knows it's not parenting. So, now the story was she beat the shit out of him, he called the cops, she fled the scene, and then the cops showed up, and she's still there, because she's fucking plastered. Now, she drove her car, she got in her car, she drove away, she drove into the neighbor's bush. That's not a euphemism. And they arrested her for DUI. She had a .243. Now, .08 is legally drunk. I don't like drunk driving. I'm not condoning that. But .243, I am, as a human, as an observer, I'm concerned. She has a small infant son. However, as an alcoholic, kudos to you, sister. That's some good drinking. I mean, I, on a good day, am like a .15, if I'm trying. I'm trying. But that's just like sloppy drunk, And she was still, I mean, I couldn't find the car if that was, 243. Anyway, yeah, Antha's got to hang it up about 1.15. I get all nappy. Not like my hair, but I realized how that came out. Anyway, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. I love the FlappCast. I'm a huge fan. Like, you guys have turned me on to like 3 new people. I'm obsessed with Josh and his virginity. I have tons of questions for Josh.
Okay.
Don't find yourself alone with me because I have tons of questions.
All right, give it up for the. Okay, bring that mic over here. We're getting right to it. I can't let this go. So this is an unusual name. You've got. I'm just going to say this point. Like it has to be addressed right away.
Absolutely.
Okay. You're okay. You are right.
Yeah.
Now it is people that know me just know, like, it seems odd until you know me, and then it just seems really normal until you're explaining it to someone else.
Okay, but is it your real name?
Yes, I paid enough for it.
Wait, really? You legally changed it
I
to
never
the...
liked my name. I never identified with my name.
What was your name?
Something else. Now, when I was
He's
when
like
I was
Prince.
old enough
Very
to,
coy.
it was a symbol, and I used to call it my slave name. When I was old enough to change it, I just did. Like, I remember, like, I was working at some, shit job, and I was like, I could totally change my name. I'm 18 now! Woohoo! And then by the time I was 19, it was done.
Okay, so I'm cutting to the shit, though.
Yeah.
Hold on. We gotta know what this name was.
Yeah.
We cannot leave this podcast without knowing this name. Please
He doesn't
tell
want to
us
share. He hates
what
it.
the name was. Please. Can we laugh? Is it okay?
Absolutely.
Good, then tell us.
No.
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
For the audience,
Yes.
it feels like deception. Here's the point. You can make up a name. It doesn't matter if it's your real name. But I would recommend, for the sake of comedy, that you come out and say my name. If someone introduces you as it's such an unusual, strange name.
You
that,
have to address it.
yes, the audience is like thinking, what the fuck?
And then also because your act is not as unusual to match the name
Yes.
that's as unusual as that. So if you came out and you were like a performance artist and did weird shit for 20 minutes, then I'd be like, all right, then his name's and he's a weirdo. But because you're not like that,
Yeah.
right? Your persona, your act is not that like out of left field. It's so crazy. It doesn't match the name the.
Yes.
So you have to address it.
And like I'm saying, make up a joke. Let's make a joke. You don't have to tell us what the real name was, but in the joke you could. So
Yes.
I go by because my real name was.
Something else. That's even funny.
Yeah.
That's funny, right? I laughed when he was like, "My name used to be something else," or but you can't just speed over it because the audience is going to be completely distracted for the first minute that you're on stage. Like, did they say his name was the?
Is it really?
Was it really
And
the?
that's right. It was a friend of mine that gave me the nickname of Brother That. And that's why I always use that. And she's no longer with us, so I love Pat's, and so it makes me think of her. And then at the show that I had, Josh said it right, and it was perfect. And it was just it's kind of just distracts from just that,
Right.
But it
You could have 30 minutes on this topic.
Seriously.
I'm just saying, there's a lot.
Seriously.
It's actually quite funny and fun if you let yourself kind of play with it a lot. I love all these nuances.
And that's like I don't make jokes like the what, or I always use it in a different way. Like my autobiography would be as I want to be, or my I come sometimes I'll do my hi, my name is it's more than a name, it's an attitude. It's just, it's not what I mean. It doesn't make sense, but it kind of plays. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, I'll
Yeah, we're in agreement that you gotta address it.
Yeah.
And it's only because, and it could be anything. I mean, if your name was, something else that sounded weird, it would be the same issue. It's just that anything that distracts the audience from listening to what you're saying and the joke you're trying to make is you should get rid of it or build into it or make a joke out of it. That's especially up top. That's all.
I had a veteran comic when I first started tell me, because I'm Asian, that I have to address that I am Asian within the first 10 seconds. And I find that it's true. Because whatever is the thing that makes you different is what's going to be a distraction to the audience. I heard about this guy once who had a club foot, and he clambered onto the stage and then never spoke about the clubfoot. And nobody in the crowd heard a word he said. Because they're like, this is not him, clubfoot. Like that, literally, like, I think the audience wants to know that I know that I'm Asian.
Yes.
Like, they want to know that I know, you know,
and
so that they're on board.
Accent.
And as soon as I say, and I just say one line, I can say one line about it, throw it away, and now everybody's relaxed. They're like, okay, she knows she's Asian.
Oh, good.
He knows he's black. He knows he has a crazy hairdo. He knows he looks like Jerry Seinfeld. Whatever it is that makes you unusual.
I'm glad you said that, because I didn't want to mention it. I didn't know if it was... By the way, I'm obsessed with TV. I watch almost every single TV show. I'm totally going to watch your show.
Yeah.
I have to go back and see.
The Thundermans.
Yes.
On Nickelodeon.
Thunderman. That sounds like a half Thundercat, half Jewish person. I don't know. That's good.
Yeah.
Thunderman.
Yeah.
Are they magic? No.
Yeah, what's the deal?
What's the origin of Thunderman?
Thundermans is do you remember that movie, The Incredibles, a while back? It was an animated Disney movie about
family with superpowers.
Family with superpowers. Former, like past their prime of superpower. This is the live action version of that. So it's a family that were formerly awesome superpower, you know, like crime fighting, amazing superheroes, and now like the dad's fat. And they have 2 teenage kids and like 2 little ones, and they've moved to another town and they're trying to like live a normal life. And so they're a family of superheroes that are trying to be incognito. And because they have teenagers and they have little kids too, there's 4 kids total in the family. There's always shenanigans that ensue. There's like a talking rabbit tied up in the basement. There's like, you know, like just
copying Sabrina, of course.
Yeah,
right.
So there's all kinds of crazy stuff, but it's really fun.
Is there ballyhoo?
There's ballyhoo.
Okay, I'm in.
Yes.
Do you have superpowers, your character?
My character doesn't. I just have angry Asianism. And Kung Pao pizza.
That is a superpower. Anyway, I wouldn't discount that.
Did you guys notice anything about the mic? Because I know, like, the notes that I got before was that I don't hold the mic to my enough.
I was going to mention, and even like now, when you're putting your thumb over it, it does block the ability for, and really the mic should just be like insignificant, but you should be heard.
But too, like my nickname in my family is Baboom. I don't have any members of my family that haven't said, I'm right here, you don't have to yell. You know, like I have a natural, I do, like, I don't even hear it. And like I talk really loud. And so I know that I have a volume issue.
Perfect.
So a lot of times I don't hold it up because I'm so like blah 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 blah. You know, like.
Well, this is an instance that you need to be heard, and you'll be able to modulate. The more you do on stage, you'll be able to hear yourself.
Yeah.
And do the Whitney Houston. You know, like hold the mic away when you get louder.
Which a lot of comics do not know how to do.
Yeah. So you'll be able to modulate at a certain point. You just need to hear. Like, I know right off the bat if a mic's too hot, because you're like, wow, I sound completely distorted. But you'll know.
Gotcha.
And that just comes with time. But for now, we need to hear you first and foremost. So put the mic up to your face.
Please talk into that mic. And then I have just
If I can interject, I'm sorry. You're also holding it sideways, kind of to your mouth, instead of directly.
Oh,
right. Yeah,
like directionally?
Well, mics aren't that smart. Yeah. They can't quite pick, so you really just want to, as Dave says, hold it like an ice cream cone, or as I like to say, hold it like prom night. Oh, okay.
Barb.
Helen. Prom night.
That was late.
Wait.
I don't get it.
Does this go here?
Let me show you. No.
You wouldn't get it because you're a virgin.
Right. But he hasn't even held it, I don't think. Anyway, okay, that's another episode. I did have one more note for you on a joke that I just really wanted to, because how long have you been doing comedy? You're pretty new to comedy?
I did it when I was like a teenager till I was 21. I did Greg Dean. That was like the last thing that I did.
Greg Dean, great teacher.
I found that I listened to the anniversary podcast.
Yes,
it's a really good
Greg
podcast.
Dean. Dave and I met in Greg Dean's comedy class.
No, you
didn't. We have nothing but respect and honor,
I love that. And then I had some like family issues and stuff. My grandfather just passed away this year, so I just decided that I had a lot of shit I needed to say, and I've been like somebody called me a grinder yesterday. And they were like, because I guess I'm at like all the open mics and stuff.
Oh, I was like, what does that mean?
I'm like, I know, I didn't know what it meant either. I'm like, I'm not on Grindr, I don't know what that means.
That's funny.
I'm totally on Grindr.
I I was gonna say you're on Grindr.
I'm on Grindr, sister.
Yeah.
Is this a coffee shop dating site or what? Grindr?
It's the it's the like here's the
for gays.
I don't play by the rules.
It's the coffee shop for gays.
Yeah, it's like the gay app where you can meet people, but like I like
it's like
a lot of
it's
people,
what Tinder was based on.
A lot of people post
Yes.
like pictures, like waist down pictures, and I don't play by the rules. I'm like, this is it. This is what you're getting. You know,
it's the app where you don't even need a picture of your face, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you show a picture of the microphone only?
Just
yes. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just call it penis pics or something?
That is mistaken.
Sometimes it's not even penis.
Oh.
It's like other stuff.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I gotta check this out
That was
immediately.
I'm like so
Barb made the
sheltered.
if I should have recorded that face that Barb just made when she went, oh.
My friends told me about this yet. I don't get it. Okay.
It's a little bit. It's over the top.
I got it.
It's
I got
over the
it.
top. Good
It's
dating.
like porn in the valley, basically.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for turning me on to that.
What was your note?
Yeah. My note was, so at one point you said, you were talking about the drinking and stuff, and it was a real tell, and I kind of wanted more. Like, I could see there was some alcohol stuff, but here's what you said. You said, oh, you know I'm trying. And instead, I would just challenge you to maybe make a statement instead, like, heck, I'm really trying. I'm really trying hard to drink more. So it says more about you if you're stating an opinion about what you think about the alcohol, not what we think about the alcohol. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to express your opinions. We love you. We want to hear what the has to say. And loud and clear,
Yeah, I would say generally my overall note for you would be to own it more.
Yeah.
Just know, everything that you say, you were saying it with a little bit of hesitation. And just know, there's no right or wrong, right? You are giving your opinion, and it's absolutely right. So sell the shit out of it. I'm right, bitches.
My name is The, and I don't care if you don't understand it, because I was named something else. That was my original name, something else. But I now am The, and if you are,
and just own it.
If you believe it, you will convince us.
Absolutely.
Like one thing that I've noticed, especially just in the few times that I've been able to get up, is that like the Greg Dean thing where he talks about how like you play it small on like in TV or in bigger and like the like in the circus and like that So I realize I'm not playing enough stuff like appropriately for the stage. So
I just think you're, like Helen said too, you're a little apprehensive, and that's what I'm saying is let it go. I mean, you have you're fun.
Yeah,
you're playful.
you have a great personality. You have a great persona.
Yeah.
I can tell you're just funny off the cuff.
Yeah.
So don't hold yourself back.
I'm trying to, and I tried to go more scripted because a lot of times, like I get like the bullet points and I talk up to them. I don't really have a problem talking, but like if it's not playing in the room, I'll get like flummoxed or flammealed or something like those words. And then I won't know. So I'm trying to do more of a scripted thing that even if it doesn't play, I could like power through it.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? This is so corny. I don't know if this would work, but for your close, you could be like, oh, and I forgot to tell you guys my last name. It's End. End? Is that awful? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm just having some fun with that.
There used to be a guy that I worked with that used to bring around the new people and be like, this is the, but it's not the place. So, so...
I can't get off the name. I'm sorry. It's just obsessive to
there's
me.
so many different directions that you could go. I mean, I have like 20 minutes on my name, and my name's not that interesting. Do you know what I mean? So you could go a million different places with the direction of your name. I mean, you could have so much fun with it. And then by the time you get off,
no one will care.
No, everybody will know your name.
Yes.
Everybody will know it, and they'll be laughing about it, and they'll be like, "Oh, that was really clever," or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think beyond that, here's what I'm finding. Like I talk a lot about, as you know, the virginity.
Yes.
But my virginity, I have to own it. I have to own it.
Own your virginity.
Own my virginity. But it's what I believe is that it's not the virginity in and of itself that's interesting. It's why. It's the underneath. It's it's why am I in this situation? And so, for me, the way you're describing it, whatever your name now isn't what's really interesting to me. What's interesting to me is why you chose to change it.
Yeah.
And what the circumstances are or were around that. And this is, as an audience member, this is what I'm doing. Like, this is what they're all doing. Okay, why did he change this? I'll take you right through my thought process. Why did he change his name? He didn't like the name that was given. Okay, maybe he didn't like one or two of the people who named him. What did one or two of the people who named him do to him to make him change? That's where I'm going.
And if you can answer those questions for the audience in your statements, then they're listening everything you're saying.
And some of the best jokes that I have come from the hardest things for me to talk about. And literally, I had to cry before I could come up with the joke.
Yeah.
But for me, and I think for a lot of people, I think some of the best jokes come out of pain. So I would suggest to you is go deeper.
Greg Dean made me cry on stage about my divorce. I used to do jokes and I was like, I'm so positive, even my blood is type is B positive. And it was like, and he was like, I was talking about my divorce.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not really upset about it, blah, blah, blah. And literally I had a huge breakdown on stage.
Wow.
Because he kept saying,
he was good at that.
And did that open up your comedy?
Yeah, because then I was like, shit, I'm in the stages after you get divorced. Like, first there's the one to fuck all his friends stage, and then there's the one to burn, blow, torch everything you touch face, and then there's I'm in the Helen ready stage now. I'm feeling good. I've got a whole list of men waiting, and hell, I'm ready. Just like those jokes. Well, thank you. But the jokes came from absolutely the real. Stuff, and then we twist them and make them funny.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do. So
that's so true. You got to tap into that. I mean, that's what they say, right? Well, that's comedy, tragedy, but plus.
For those of you listening, if you've got tragedy, sign up for class now. You will change your life.
When I got mugged, it was all I could talk about for 3 months, and it wasn't funny at the beginning. It wasn't, believe me. But I got some good bits out of it at the end, and it really helped me work through it.
I love comedians.
The psychosis.
I do. I love comedians because they're such open, honest people.
Yeah.
Even though they are.
And we can't afford therapy.
That's really
why. And also the more when you start out there, like if you address the name or if you do the painful stuff, then when you go into the TMZ stuff, which. Like like you going into that kind of nerding out on that is the equivalent, I think, of me going on stage and talking about Star Trek for 2 minutes. Yeah. But if you start out by kind of explaining who you are, it gives a context for that. It's going to make that stuff funnier.
It will. It will. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope it was helpful.
It was very helpful. Thank you so much.
We will see you here at Flappers again soon.
Questions?
Right back at you.
All right, come on down and check out at one of our open mics. I know he's here a lot, so
I was impressed. Those were 2 good ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Helen Hong, if you want to see Helen, if you're listening, please come on Thursday.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock.
This Thursday, 8 p.m.
Yes.
Main room.
Yes, and you can hear Helen talking about her family. And,
yes. I'll probably be. I may be talking about the Thundermans, and I'll definitely be talking about dating.
And she is also available and single. So after the show, if you guys want to get kicked in the knees, nuts, or neck, or whatever. What did I reverse that? Thanks, Dad. I'm getting a lot of applause. What's your website, Helen? How can people find out more?
HelenHong.com is my website. I'm also on Twitter at FunnyHelenHong.
Is that Helen Hong with an accent, or
Helen Hong?
And you can.
And there's a gong at the end. Gong.
Ed doesn't have that sound effect.
You don't have the gong, Ed?
Dang it!
Damn it!
Do the bell. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And by the way, Helen Hong headlines here at Flappers. I'm not sure when, I hope, because she's been so busy doing films and TV that I haven't nailed her down to a date. But next time you see Helen on our schedule, if you can't make it this Thursday, please check her out. I bet our birthday weekend you'll be back in September. Helen's amazing, and please keep an eye out for her. And thanks so much for joining us, Helen. In Claremont this weekend.
We have Bruce Jingles, the incomparable Bruce Jingles. Yes.
An urban room. Maybe you should go down there, Helen.
Be like, what's up, motherfuckers?
Right. And
And then in Burbank, we have Joy Medina from the Latin Kings of Comedy, Friday and
yes.
Saturday, 8 p.m., 10 p.m.
So it's a great week, and don't forget to download our Flap app. It's FLAPPAPP. You can get deals and discounts on there that you can't get anywhere else, and we also let you know when celebrities are dropping in. So download that. It's for iPhone and Android. We'll take all any and all devices. Thanks again for joining us. Check out flapperscomedy.com for our latest schedule and all of that. I am Barbara Holiday.
I'm Joshua Snyder.
I'm Helen Holmes.
All right, flap out.